Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I applaud the committee for having this hearing. It's obviously very important, and I think a bipartisan issue that we've talked so much today. Obviously, over the summer, we went through a very tragic time, and in a place, in a location, geographically speaking, that is very hard at times to get connected and to send alerts. And so my mind has been there all summer on what it means to alert people, and I think this is exactly the type of work this committee should be proud of doing in a bipartisan way. I'll start with FirstNet. I've recently been connected to FirstNet after the events happened, the flooding happened this summer, and I think it's a good example of a public-private partnership, and wanted to dig in a little bit. Some of these questions we've kind of danced around, so they're going to be similar. But Sheriff, I'll start with you. I know that there have been concerns expressed about how to improve the oversight and the transparency of FirstNet and the network, but I want to hear your experiences with FirstNet and either challenges with signal strength or the system in general, or the positive issues that you've seen from FirstNet.
No, thank you for that question. Mostly what we've seen is positive. The reality in a county as large as mine is really the build out. And it is also communications. In your case in Texas, the communications before the event happens, staging things that the locals may need. And a lot of what I see is we're driving down, in law enforcement, we call this the mutual aid process. A lot of times, and I'll say it may sometimes be like a political perspective, but it's being driven down. That process works up. We call and ask for those. We stage assets both federally, state, and locally to be able to respond in the event the weather changes. So when we're talking about a broadband network, we're talking about including AI, predictive technologies that can run you through scenarios for the staging of that equipment and prepare the first responders to be much quicker in an event like you experienced is something we need, and FirstNet carries that through. We just need more of it so we can guarantee that connectivity.
Well, thank you for that. And Mr. Newton, I'll go to you and just refer back to Hurricane Helene and the experiences that you saw there from the wireless emergency alert, from FirstNet, I'm getting ahead of myself, but from FirstNet on Hurricane Helene.
We saw, first and foremost, the partnerships at the state level of coordinating where we're responding or deploying equipment to, where is the need. And then throughout the event, as the event evolved, our ability to move equipment around and make things work. Again, it was a catastrophic disaster for us. It was tremendous damage. Never seen this much from a technical side, the type of damage that we saw to fiber optic lines and to power system, our ability to power cell sites. But the close partnerships there and the fact that we have several agencies that have their own deployables, and so I'm able to set up my own FirstNet temporary compact rapid deployable. And I think the challenge I think we'll see in the near future is as that becomes more prolific, we still have to coordinate that with the carrier. We want to make sure that we're not creating the interference.
Well, that brings up a good, just kind of a good point. I mean, sometimes we can't stage, sometimes we can't predict. In the case of the floods that happened in my district and in Kerrville, I mean, that highlights maybe the need for secondary options and the challenges of getting into those rural places, which whether it's Hurricane Helene or it's in the hill country of Texas or other places, sometimes you can't actually physically get there. So, I want to hear your thoughts on low Earth orbit, direct-to-device options that could be helpful in those cases.
So one of my staff members deployed to Helene the day after impact, and his task was to bring back connectivity to PSAPs. And I believe, I don't know if it was his first or his 13th PSAP that he arrived at. The person greeted him at the door and said, I don't know what an angel looks like, but I believe it's you. And his role was to bring connectivity to a communications center who had been in the dark from the time of impact. And so, in fact, what he deployed was a low Earth orbit satellite system, a Starlink system that provided Wi-Fi, and that gave you Wi-Fi calling And that center was then reconnected both with the public and their families who didn't know those telecommunicators, how they fared.
Well, thank you for that. Again, I applaud the committee for the work on reauthorizing and getting FirstNet, moving in a positive direction, but also some other options. And I think my